We know many of you are following the Jacob T.S. Wenzel case from Oconto, Wisconsin. He disappeared Halloween night 2022.
Right. And the police, particularly the DCI, the Division of Criminal Investigation, they've said they have a lot of information.
A lot, yes. But they're sharing, well, almost nothing publicly. So today, we're digging into that secrecy. What digital evidence do they actually hold?
Exactly. And why is it all kept so tightly under wraps? Our mission here is to sort of unpack the DCI's digital playbook.
Right.
We want to detail what they probably have on the alleged suspect, Nate Moritz, and importantly, the legal reasons it has to stay sealed for now.
Let's start with those legal reasons. Getting things like phone records or location data needs a warrant, right? Based on probable cause shown in an affidavit.
Yes, absolutely. But here's the thing. That affidavit, judges almost always seal it.
Seal it. Why?
Well, under Wisconsin law, statute 968.12, it's about protecting the investigation's integrity. Think of the affidavit as the prosecution's game plan.
Ah, okay. If Moritz saw it, he'd know exactly what evidence they have and how they connected it.
Precisely. He could potentially, compromise evidence, maybe try to influence witnesses, or even cook up some counter story that fits the gaps.
So the secrecy isn't just like bureaucratic red tape, it's strategic.
It is. And there's a common misconception here about disclosure. People hear about Brady v. Maryland and think everything has to be released.
Right, the rule about exculpatory evidence,
Right.
stuff that might help the defense.
Exactly. But Brady only requires prosecutors to give that material to the defense counsel, not to the public, not to the media.
That makes sense. Releasing bits and pieces of, say, phone data publicly could completely poison a potential jury pool down the line.
It absolutely could. It ensures the prosecution meets its constitutional duties without derailing the chance for a fair trial later.
Okay, let's shift to the tech side then. What digital evidence are they likely hiding? We know Wenzel's phone battery died sometime after he was last seen. How crucial is that final signal?
Oh, it's potentially the linchpin. The DCI's first move would be getting call detail records CDRs, which include cell site location information, CSLI.
CSLI. So, which cell tower the phone was talking to?
Basically, yes. They'd use Wenzel's CSLI to pinpoint the last known geographic area before the phone went dead. Then, the critical step. Synchronize that with Moritz's CSLI data for the same time frame.
To show his phone was right there near Wenzel's phone at that vital moment on Halloween.
That's the objective, to place Moritz's device in the immediate vicinity.
Now, I know Oconto is somewhat rural. CSLI isn't like pinpoint GPS, is it? Could the phones ping the same tower but still be, a fair distance apart?
That's a fair question. CSLI accuracy varies, definitely less precise than GPS, especially in areas with fewer towers. But DCI analysts are trained for this.
They could count for that.
They use triangulation, signal strength, propagation models. Even if it's not down to the exact foot, synchronized CSLI makes it very difficult for Moritz to claim he was, say, miles away when Wenzel disappeared. It establishes proximity.
Okay, so the location data is likely strong. But what if they physically got Moritz's phone? Does that mean they can just download everything? Even stuff unrelated to that specific night?
Now you're hitting on something really interesting. If they seized the phone, the DCI's Digital Forensics Unit, the DFU, would likely do a full extraction. And the key precedent here is Wisconsin v. Birch.
Wisconsin v. Birch, what does that allow?
It's quite expansive. It essentially allows the DFU to image the entire phone, everything on it, and importantly, retain that data indefinitely.
Indefinitely. So not just data from around October 31st?
Nope. The Birch case allowed historical data, potentially gathered for a totally separate reason, to be used later in a homicide investigation.
Wow. So old photos, notes, maybe financial records on the phone, browsing history, all fair game to build the current case, even if it's from years ago.
That's the implication. It gives investigators a potentially vast historical digital record of the suspect. They could find, say, old notes about financial stress or messages showing previous conflict and potentially use that to establish motive for this case.
That really broadens the scope. And it's not just the phone itself, right? They look elsewhere too.
Oh, definitely. They target what's called ESI, electronically stored information. Think emails, social media like Snapchat or Facebook, payment apps like Venmo or PayPal.
Why Venmo, for instance?
Well, maybe looking for transactions between Wenzel and Moritz. Could it show a debt, a recent payment, anything that might point towards a motive, like a financial dispute?
Got it. And all this digital stuff, the CSLI, the phone data, the Venmo records, it all has to be handled carefully to be used in court, doesn't it? I saw WSEL mentioned.
Right, that's the Wisconsin State Crime Laboratory. They're crucial for maintaining the chain of custody, making sure the digital evidence is preserved exactly as it was collected, no tampering.
And how do they prove in court that, say, a text message record is real?
They typically use something called the business records exception to the hearsay rule.
Okay, what does that mean in plain English?
It basically means the record is reliable because it was made in the regular course of business. Your phone provider automatically logs calls and texts. Venmo automatically logs transactions. It wasn't created specifically for the investigation.
So the DCI just needs to show the record was generated normally and kept properly by the WSCL.
Exactly. They authenticate it, prove it's trustworthy, and then it can come into evidence.
So putting it all together for your listing, the DCI is likely sitting on a pretty comprehensive digital picture. Location data, putting Moritz near Wenzel, potentially a full forensic image of Moritz's phone, thanks to Birch, plus authenticated messages and financial trails, all legally sealed.
Yes. The sealing protects the investigation now and aims for a fair trial later. But that Birch precedent, it does raise questions.
How so?
Well, it means law enforcement can hold on to this vast digital profile, this historical record, indefinitely. It's there, potentially ready to be used not just for this case, but maybe for any future investigation involving that person.
That's the final thought to leave you with then. While the secrecy makes sense for the current Wenzel case, what does the power granted by Wisconsin v. Birch mean for our digital lives and privacy in the long run, even long after a specific case is closed? Something to think about.